England invented football. So, why do they always fail? Football came from England, the country that gave the world the sport, the country that built the stadiums, wrote the rules, created the traditions, the place where football became more than a game. And yet, for almost 60 years, England has watched the World Cup from the shadows. One trophy, one moment, one summer in 1966. Since then, England have entered tournament after tournament believing that the next generation would be the one, the team that would finally end the wait, the team that would finally bring football home. Nearly 60 years later, they're still waiting. And then, nothing. For generations of fans, supporting England has felt less like following a football team and more like inheriting a family curse. Every tournament begins the same way. Hope, belief, dreams. And somehow, it always ends the same way too. Heartbreak. England's greatest moment came in 1966. The World Cup was at home. The final was at Wembley. The nation stood still. And when the final whistle blew against West Germany, England were champions of the world. For one glorious summer, everything felt perfect. The trophy was theirs. Football had come home. But the strange thing about winning is that sometimes victory creates expectations that become impossible to satisfy. Every time a new generation emerged, people asked the same question. Can they finally do what the heroes of 1966 did? And almost every time, the answer was no. The pain really started to define England in the 1990s. Italia 90 was supposed to be different. England fought their way to the semi-final. The dream felt real. Then came West Germany, a tense battle. 90 minutes, extra time, and finally, penalties. England lost. Players collapsed to the grass. Fans cried. The dream died from 12 yards away. But somehow, things would get even worse. 6 years later, England hosted Euro 1996. An entire nation believed again. The atmosphere was electric. The team was exciting. The tournament felt destined. Until the semi-final. Against Germany, again, and once again, penalties. One kick, one miss, one moment. The entire country staring at television screens in disbelief. Germany celebrated. England suffered. History repeated itself. By then, it wasn't just bad luck anymore. It felt personal. Then came 1998, the World Cup in France, a young Michael Owen. The future seemed bright until Argentina, a match filled with drama, controversy, and tension, and eventually, penalties. Again, England lost. Again. At this point, you could almost hear the collective sigh of an entire nation. Not surprise, not anger, just exhaustion, as if everyone already knew how the story would end. And then there was 2006. Portugal, quarterfinals, another opportunity, another chance to break free from the past, and somehow another penalty shootout, another defeat, another generation left, wondering what could have been. It wasn't just losing, it was the way England lost. Always close enough to dream, never close enough to touch it. The most painful chapter might be what came next, because England eventually produced what many believe was the greatest collection of talent since 1966. The Golden Generation, David Beckham, Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, Michael Owen, Rio Ferdinand, Ashley Cole, Wayne Rooney. On paper, they looked unstoppable. These weren't ordinary players. They were superstars, captains, icons, legends of the Premier League. Week after week, they dominated for their clubs. They won trophies. They played in Champions League finals. They were among the best players in the world, and yet, when they put on the England shirt, something felt different. Something never clicked. People spent years debating what went wrong. Maybe the personalities didn't fit together. Maybe the pressure became too much. Maybe football simply isn't played on paper. Whatever the reason, the Golden Generation never delivered the ending people expected. And yet somehow, the story wasn't finished. Because after years of disappointment, England finally started giving their fans hope again. The 2018 World Cup felt different. For the first time in a long time, England weren't arriving as overwhelming favorites. There was less pressure, less expectation. Maybe that's why people started to believe. The team fought their way to the semi-finals. The country came alive. Every victory felt like the beginning of something special. And when England took an early lead against Croatia in the semi-final, fans could almost see the final. Almost. But football can be cruel when you start dreaming too early. Croatia fought back. The game slipped away. Extra time arrived. Then came the goal that broke England's heart. The dream was over. For many fans, it felt like a missed opportunity that may never come again. But then came Euro 2020, and somehow the stakes became even higher. The tournament was played across Europe, but fate seemed to be writing a perfect script. England reached the final at Wembley, in London, in front of their own supporters. The first major final since 1966. 55 years of waiting, 55 years of hope, one match away from ending decades of pain. When Luke Shaw scored after just 2 minutes, Wembley erupted. For a moment, it felt real. It felt like destiny. The celebrations had already begun in people's minds. The years of disappointment suddenly felt worth it. This was supposed to be the ending, but Italy refused to play their part. Slowly, the game shifted, the tension grew, the lead disappeared, and eventually the final came down to the one thing England fans feared more than anything else: penalties. Of course it was penalties. After decades of heartbreak from 12 yards, England's fate was once again placed on the penalty spot. The entire nation held its breath. Millions watched through their fingers, and then it happened. Missed penalties, Italian celebrations, English silence, another final lost, another dream destroyed at Wembley, in front of their own fans. The closest England had come to a major trophy in more than half a century ended in the exact way that haunted them for generations. Because for one brief moment, football really did feel like it was coming home. And then it turned around and left again. But somehow, England still had one more chance. Qatar, 2022, a new World Cup, a new generation. And once again, people started to believe. The squad looked balanced, the talent was undeniable. For long periods of the tournament, England looked like genuine contenders. Then came France, the defending champions, a team packed with world-class talent. Yet England matched them. They fought. They created chances. And with the game slipping away, fate handed them an opportunity, a penalty, the chance to level the match, the chance to keep the dream alive. Harry Kane stepped forward, England's captain, England's leader, a player who had scored countless goals throughout his career. The entire nation held its breath, and then he missed. The ball sailed over the crossbar. France survived. England were eliminated. Another tournament, another painful memory, another chapter added to a story that already had too many of them. For England fans, it felt hauntingly familiar. Not because they were outplayed, not because they lacked quality, but because, once again, they came close enough to imagine glory before watching it disappear. But despite everything, the missed penalties, the wasted generations, the endless disappointment, England fans keep coming back. Every tournament, every draw, every kickoff. Hope returns because football fans are strange. They remember every heartbreak, yet somehow still believe. And maybe that's why England remains one of football's most fascinating stories. Not because they win, but because they keep believing after losing. Now we arrive at 2026, another World Cup, another opportunity, a new generation, a new manager, fresh dreams, less pressure. Maybe this team will finally break the cycle. Maybe they will create a new chapter instead of reliving the old ones, or maybe the story will repeat itself once again. Let me know what you think down below in the comments section. Do you believe in Thomas? Is he the manager that will finally be able to bring it home? We are already hearing criticism about the selected squad. No Palmer, no Foden, no Maguire, no Rio, no Trent. I guess we can't find out if this time it will work out unless we wait for a tournament to be over. After matchday 1, we saw that the team is promising, but still, it's too early to judge after only one match against Croatia. However, at least the trust got better, a bit between the manager and the fans. Let me know, England fans, if you were satisfied from what you saw. Please subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed the video.